welcome to this Video Some Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield, and this video is the first video to feature the new Video Some Frontier channel branding. And a few of you might be wondering why I've decided to go ahead and do some channel rebranding. Well, basically, for the 1,000,000th time, YouTube appear to have actually changed the layout again. Now, at the moment, it's not compulsory to have the new layout, but this is how YouTube's updates, rollout thingies take place. And Facebook's as well, actually. You know, at first it's optional, to kind of sign up for the new layout, and then they usually set a date, and then by that date, bam, everyone has got the new layout. So, and with this one, it seems that yet more customization has been taken away. I like the layout of YouTube. Well, I like the layout that they had when I first joined. You could actually have like different coloured, like your channel you could have a background and then you could have different colours on it. And I really kind of like that because mine was the McDonald's tartan with blue originally, back when I was Blue Planet 64. And then when it became Video Some Frontier, I mean, the layout that I used to dub Squiffy Panda, it's something else Panda, but I can't even mind what it was, but I used to call it Squiffy Panda. That came out, and the YouTube channel colours were missing. It was basically whatever YouTube decided was okay, but you could still have the background, your tiled backgrounds. But now that's gone, and in its place there's a banner image that has to be a particular size, and out of that particular size you have a bit in the middle that actually crops, and then that's what becomes your cover kind of banner photo in the YouTube layout view thing. It's just awful complicated, but I've been toying around with the idea of kind of changing a few things on my channel since Christmas time. For example, the title sequence, I quite fancied something a wee bit different. And something maybe with some moving videos in. Kind of like B Bishop PCM's intro. He actually has an intro, or traditionally he had an intro sequence with different bits of video clips, so you could actually get a feel for what the channel was about. But I quite fancied doing something similar, and I started work on it on Christmas Day. I made a new theme tune, but that actually went on to be the theme tune for something else, and another project I'm involved in. And so I basically decided to start again. I made the theme tune in the new one that you've just heard in GarageBand for iOS. Unfortunately, GarageBand in iOS keeps timing secret, so I kind of thought the number of bars was the number of seconds for a while, so it was kind of like, I was playing this really long piece of music going, surely that's longer than 40 odd seconds, and I ended up timing it with my phone, and 40 odd seconds in, it was just kind of the beginning. So obviously I trimmed it down, and then I came to kind of put all the video clips together and what have you. It did take me all afternoon pretty much, and a lot of the evening as well, to kind of fully put it together, in a way as to how I want it to be. And I probably still could have done better, but hey, there's enough people going to point out that. Anyway, so as I was saying, I put all that together last night, and I've kind of given the channel obviously if the channel had colours, they'd be slightly different now, because the colours used in the new Video Some Frontier logo, you might be kind of wondering where I got the colour scheme from, what significance about the colour scheme to me, and you may not, but I'm just going to sit here and say and tell you anyway. Now, the colour scheme in question is plum. It's kind of a plummy burgundy kind of colour with lilac. Now, the reason for that is because, well, last time I went to Penumbra, well, just actually, do you know what, this is the second take of this video, I can't believe I've kind of done that again, never mind, it's staying in. The second time, when you go to stay at the Penumbra that I go and stay at, they have rooms decorated, some of the rooms are decorated in different colours. Now, last time I was there, I was in the purple room. And the purple room is, I really quite like the room. It's got a nice atmosphere to it, and it's kind of homely. Not that I've ever, been in a room that's kind of lilac before. But I kind of liked it. So that's the one I stuck it, that's the one I stayed with. Stayed with? What am I on about? So, yeah. I kind of liked it, so I took that room. Also, the reason that my last visit to Penumbra was so good was because I met someone who is now kind of special to me. Obviously, I'm not going to say kind of who or what or when or how, but, suffice it to say, her and I have now become quite close friends. And her hair colour is, you may or may not have guessed it, but it's kind of a plum, kind of a maroony plum type colour. Hence the lilac and plum. So, yeah. Now, I kind of like the colour scheme. But some of you might be thinking, some of you might want to contest my choice of colour scheme, saying, gee, that's a wee bit feminist, so it is. Is it no for a woman? Well, my answer to that is, who says that certain things should be male and certain things should be female? I wasn't aware that we were still living in the prehistoric ages. And that you, my friend, probably need to go to growing up school. And while you're there, take a class in how to not be such an intolerant bark. And if you choose to then go to college and do a degree, make sure you major in how not to be such a prehistoric old fart. Anyway, all that aside, I think it's time to do a video unboxing. Now, like I said in my last video, if my videos get through to just one person, that is reason enough for me to keep on going. And it seems that my good friend liked my unboxing videos. Really cheered them up. I had a good friend who liked them. So, I decided to kind of do another one. And, I think it's important, if my videos get through to someone, I think it's kind of important that I keep on doing it. Because a lot of you will know by now, but some of you won't, that I was in quite a bad place a couple of years ago. And it was partly by discovering the videos of Billy Corr that I was actually able to kind of, move my life a wee bit more forward and start doing positive things. I've always been into older computers and older versions of Windows, but seeing Billy collecting old computers and playing with them with like older versions of Windows, that kind of got me back into the spirit of things. And from there on in, I took the idea to open J. Wakefield Computers, and things have kind of been going positive from there on in. In a way, obviously, I still have major depression in that. I can't pretend like, I'm completely cured, but certainly it's, I still watch Billy's videos today. So if you too want to subscribe to him and see where my inspiration lies, www.youtube.com/roadgeek. And while you're there, subscribe to www.youtube.com/uxwbell, Matthew H 16, LMULL3, and well, basically, oh yeah, you might also want to subscribe to Freakindy, spelled PHREAKINDEE. And once you've done that, subscribe to Max Arcade. All one word. Max is spelled with 2 X's for some reason. But yeah. So, as again, the reason I do videos, it originally was Billy who kind of gave me the inspiration to actually start doing my own YouTube videos. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on with this unboxing. Now, luckily, this is not an unboxing of something that needs to be cut into, because this box has already been pre-opened. So, good news for me this time is I don't need a responsible adult. However, I do need the item that I'm going to be unboxing. And I need a better camera angle. Now the bad news is that this time I didn't actually get a didgeridoo for my troubles. Even a homemade one. So I can't play the didgeridoo. I'm really sorry, guys. However, before I can unbox this, I need to think about safety first. Even though there's no knives involved with unboxing this, I still need to think about my safety. And the best way to ensure that I have a good, clean, safe unboxing is to have a cup of tea. So, while I'm actually connecting this to some power source because the battery's low, I'm going to actually have a drink of a cup of tea, because I think that would be a wise idea. Much better. Seriously. Now, so I guess it's now time for a history lesson. Now, back in the 90s, Microsoft were actually running 2 distinct versions of Windows side by side. And this all started off in 1993. Microsoft originally wanted to make a fully 32-bit kind of preemptive multitasking, all bells and whistles kind of version of Windows called Windows NT. And at the time, I mean, that could run on absolutely anything. It could run on a selection of RISC and CISC processors. RISC being reduced instruction sets, like the CPUs that they have in mobile phones and PlayStations and what have you. And then, of course, there's the CISC chips, which are basically what you'll find in a regular Windows-based PC. Not the RT; those use RISC CPUs. But in any kind of Windows-based PC or laptop, generally you'll find a CISC processor, complex instruction set. So basically, Windows NT kind of went about its merry wee way, serving businesses. Windows NT, there was a few different versions. There was NT 3.1, which looked like Windows 3.1, NT 3.51, NT 3.5, and 3.51 were basically updates to NT 3.1. Still kind of had the same old program manager interface, so by the time NT 4.0 came around, though, it became, it adopted the Windows 95 user interface. And it didn't feature plug and play, it featured the hardware abstraction layer. I mean, that meant it could run, basically on anything. Windows would just do what, you would just kind of code for Windows, and Windows itself, the hardware abstraction layer would deal with what different hardware was in the box. What different hardware your computer was running. However, I mean, obviously this version of Windows NT was extremely reliable. Then, of course, we had the consumer versions of Windows. Obviously, you know, we had Windows 3.1 in May of 1992, Windows 3.11, Windows for Workgroups. Then, in 1995, Windows 95 came out. That actually kind of, if you went to the shop and bought that, that would actually kind of look a wee bit like this. I got given this actually, not too long since, so that's kind of nice. I own one of those. I was amazed. So you had Windows 95, and then Windows 98, and then of course, well, there was different versions of Windows 95. Windows 95A, or Operating System Release 1, or I don't know, Operating Service Release, or whatever it was, Operating Service. I don't know, Optimization Service. It's OSR 1 or OSR. Then there was Windows 95B OSR, which was also known as OSR 2. And there was 2.1 and 2.5, which were both collectively known as Windows 95C. However, then Windows 98 came along, and then Windows 98 Second Edition came along. However, towards the end of the 90s, Microsoft were hoping to unite the Windows 9X and the Windows NT platforms to come out with an operating system, just a one operating system approach that could be used by homes and businesses alike. It would have the reliability and the rock solidness of the NT kernel. It would be built on NT technology. Right, yeah, okay, NT technology. NT stands for New Technology. So Windows 2000 was built on New Technology? Okay. So, it would be built on NT technology. But it would have a lot of the home features of Windows 95 and 98. Unfortunately, I mean, Microsoft Windows 2000 Professional was released for businesses back on February the 17th, 2000. Unfortunately, though, this version of Windows that Microsoft had in the pipeline, known as Windows Neptune, it wasn't ready for a number of reasons. So Microsoft decided to cancel the Neptune project, and they decided to go to work instead on something called Windows Whistler, which is kind of an interesting operating system. But in the meantime, they wanted a new version of Windows to put out for the consumers. So what they did is addressed Windows 98 Second Edition, gave it some new colour scheme rather, and basically made it look like Windows 2000, gave it some Explorer tweaks, and they actually gave it some enhanced multimedia things. So, for example, you got the Movie Maker, Windows Media Player 7. Obviously, Windows Media Player 7 could be installed on Windows 95 and 98. Version 7.0 could be, but 7.1 required 98 or higher to install. But they also made a couple of changes to the kernel, and they actually had access to MS-DOS, so you couldn't actually drop down and get real mode access anymore. In this operating system, it was called Windows ME. Now, Windows ME, unfortunately, it's not really enjoyed the best of reputations. To be honest, it was kind of rushed out. And it was a lot more crash happy than Windows 98. And yet, some programs, oddly enough, they would not install an ME because for some reason they thought you were trying to install on Windows NT. And I hear you cry, what's the version number of this version of Windows? It's actually 4.9. So, here's the Windows ME box. I mean, I've installed Windows ME on the past without too much hassle, actually, on the 2001 custom build. I really did quite like it. And it's kind of nice now that, after all this time, I finally own a boxed copy. So, Windows ME. This is the upgrade copy. So this was designed to upgrade users of Windows 95, 98 and 98 2nd edition. However, unlike Windows Vista and 7, there is a Microsoft supported way that's actually clear-cut on being able to make a fresh install of Windows ME. Obviously, you can actually fresh install an upgrade copy of Vista and 7, but you have to install it without putting a key in and then install it over the top of itself, and then it will see itself as an upgrade. And to be honest, the whole process is a wee bit messy, if you want my honest opinion. But you have this. This is, like I said, this is the Windows ME. This is the upgrade. And yes, you can actually do a clean install of this, just as long as you have your old Windows disks or a win.com file, I might add, to hand. So let's have a look at the box. So it says Windows ME Millennium Edition. I remember this coming out, actually, and I was thinking, what is this? Because I'd never even heard of this. I mean, obviously, you know, we'd all got to hear about Windows 95. I remember all the hype surrounding Windows 98. But Windows ME, it just kind of came out. It just kind of sneaked up on us a wee bit. So it's kind of like, what is this? All these computers. I originally did think it was like NT, because NT was letters rather than a year number. So I thought, oh, ME, it must be just like a new version of Windows NT or something. But no, it turns out, obviously, it wasn't. It was basically just Windows 98 with, it was just kind of a refresh. So obviously on the side you have your system requirements. This box is, does leave a wee bit to be desired. Basically, it requires you to have a 150 megahertz Pentium processor or higher, 32 megs of RAM. Personally, from past experience, I can tell you now, you probably want at least 64 megs of RAM to install Windows ME. And as is the case with most things, more is better. You also need, obviously, CD-ROM, DVD-ROM drive to install it. That's always a good idea. And at least 295 megs of disk space for minimum installation. Mileage may vary, but I often find that Windows ME would take up, you know, anywhere between 300 and 500 megs of hard disk space. Anyway, additional items required. Might need a sound card, might need an internet connection. It's always best to have those things, actually. You know, if you just kind of had the basic system requirements, you know, something like a VGA display and things like that, you really not get the best out of Windows ME. Windows ME was all about the multimedia, and that's kind of why I liked it. For the first time, you actually got a picture viewer, a JPEG viewer. I liked that. It had its own scanner and camera wizard, not as elegant as XP's. Had System Restore. I never was able to get System Restore to work in Windows ME, but there you go. It was at least better than installing Adaptec Go Back, which would forever churn your hard disk. Seriously, what was with that program? You installed it and it just sat there churning your hard disk. Ugh. Glad I only had a demo of it. Although it was later known as Roxio Go Back. Now, let's have a wee look at the back of this. So, discover your digital world. Windows ME. I'm going to move this camera. I know it's on the tripod, but never mind. Discover the digital world with Windows Millennium Edition. Do you know, actually, funny thing, The code name for this version of Windows was just quite literally Windows Millennium. Seriously. And a lot of people do call it that, Windows Millennium. So it's quite funny that, to make the actual version name, they just stuck the word edition on it. Windows Millennium Edition. So it's showing three of the most prominent features of Windows Millennium. See, I've just done it. When Microsoft Windows Media Player, like I said, you could install that on 95, NT, and 98 as well. Derp. You had Windows Movie Maker. Again, it wasn't the best version in the world, but it was there. It kind of worked. I would say it would have more use now, actually, but, well, not necessarily Windows Movie Maker. Well, you can obviously still get it. But, it's kind of nice to know that you had it. And then, of course, the System Restore. And then it would say, Windows computing has never been easier. I really don't see how they can claim that, because it was really not that much different to Windows 98. The only real UI change that they actually made that I would say simplifies things was the control panel kind of webby view, which only gives you access to 6 control panel items, and then you've got to click to look at the rest of them. That was kind of a precursor to Windows XP's category view for control panel, which I've always switched off. And even in Windows 7, I just go back to the icon view. Get the latest Windows ME updates. Oh yeah, they had automatic updating for the first time in ME as well. The operating system can keep itself current by automatically downloading enhancements from the web. Good help is easy to find. Yeah, actually, I will give it that. The Windows ME help system was completely overhauled and just a lot better. Even though it was a lot slower and a lot more webby, and a lot of people wouldn't have liked that, and I can understand how. Good help is easy to find. Now there's a central place to get comprehensive, easy to use help. The Windows Help Center. Prevent problems before they occur. System file protection safeguards key system files before being deleted or overwritten. That's kind of nice, but I always like the system file checker in Windows 98. You could actually manually set off a scan and it, and then it would kind of go through the files. It's like, this has been replaced, that's been replaced, and can you copy the original files from the Windows 98 disk? Although having said that, I do wonder if Windows 98, have you ever updated Windows 98, if you then ran the system file checker, whether it would try and overwrite updated files with the originals? I never really looked into that. Now that's entertainment. Make your gaming experience a blast. Windows ME supports the latest technologies, such as Windows DirectX, graphic accelerators, in-game chat, and more. Really? Most gamers just put Windows 98 on their computers. Say cheese! Simple tools make it easy to import photos from scanners and cameras, then organise, print and share them with friends and family. Do you know what? I'm going to give you that, Microsoft. That is one thing that I did like about Windows ME, and it's the same thing I liked about Vista actually. It just kind of made photo management a lot nicer and a lot easier. And like I said, for the first time you had a photo viewer. Yeah, you couldn't scroll through photos in a folder like you could with XPs. You'd have to close it and then open it again. And then you had the My Picture screensaver. But I did like it. I do like it. It was kind of better than having to load Internet Explorer. Tell you that for free. And then of course we have connect multiple home computers together. I completely forgot about this, of course. The home networking wizard, that made its first appearance in Windows ME. Network your home. Simply use a wizard to connect files and printers among the different computers in your home and share the same internet connection. Hardware required. I wonder what that might be. Modem, Ethernet cards. I was tried using it with null modem cable. Derp. that never... I mean, it worked. I mean, yeah, I did manage to get two computers to communicate via null modem, but do you really want to... Do you really want to do everything over serial? No. I mean, that was obviously really slow. If you're gonna connect two computers together, you use a networking cable. Or obviously nowadays you can use Wi-Fi, which was well, it certainly wasn't that common when Windows ME was around. I mean, I'm not going to say that Wi-Fi wasn't available, because actually it was. The original ITIL 2.1x standard came out in 1997, and I got that nugget of information thank you to Matthew H12. I always get it mixed up. Some usernames he's H12, some he's H16. But yeah, quite often Matthew H12 will actually come up with really useful tidbits of information. You know, and I learn quite a lot from them. So subscribe to his videos. youtube.com/MatthewH12. Okay, shall we actually unbox this thing, rather than me just kind of trying to give a really boring history lesson? Let's do that. So, like I said, safety first. I've had my cup of tea. Good, that's done. So, to unbox this, what I'm going to do, there's a wee flap under here, I'm just going to kind of pull that out. It's amazing the age we live in, what they can do nowadays, isn't it? And then it's time for a game of Pass the Parcel. So the music stopped, and next thing I know, there's a brown box. So far, Windows ME's not crashed. And then there's a wee bit of masking tape kind of holding it down. I don't know if that was Microsoft or who it was. But here you've got to kind of put this out of the way. Unbox everything on this laptop. Yeah, let's do that. You can actually see what I'm doing. There are a couple of things in here that wouldn't have came in the original package. It can be quite interesting. Okay, so first things first, I have the Windows ME CD, and it's all nice and hologramic and shiny. Oh, I do like the original discs. Mesmerising. And then there's the key on the back, obviously. That's nice. It's a key. It's all legitimate because it's shiny. So it'll pass the Windows validation test. And then this wouldn't have been here. There would have probably been a boot disc, but not this one. This was a kind of a blank one that the seller put in with it. Microsoft CD-ROM setup boot disc. So this is really nice. It's for Windows 95. That's nice. They're actually giving us a label. I could just stick this on any disk. So basically, it's for you to make up your own boot disk and then kind of just stick that on it. Kind of nice. And here's something that you won't have got in the original box. The version of Windows to upgrade from. There you go. Nice copy of Windows 95. What do you think about that? Okay, there we go. Isn't that nice? Isn't life wonderful? I have a legitimate copy of Windows 95. I wonder if they gave me a key. Now, I've never read this book before. I've read the Windows 95 ones and the 98 ones. And the Windows XP one. But I've never read a Windows ME one. So, I'm quite looking forward to reading this. The Quick Start Guide to Windows ME. Obviously, what you want is something a wee bit more in-depth. You know, and if you really don't know Windows at all, and if you really do not know Microsoft Windows ME that much, and you do need something... Sorry about that, my memory filled up again. Now, like I was saying, if you want something a wee bit more substantial than this, and to be honest, if you really didn't know much about computers when Windows ME came out, you did, I always thought best to give it one of these. Windows Millennium Edition for Dummies. I read Windows 98 for Dummies. I've read Windows 3.1 for Dummies. Absolutely brilliant series. I would recommend them. You can pick them up on eBay for next to nothing nowadays. And yes, if you're into retro computers, and let's say someone actually gave you a retro computer to game on and you really didn't know much about computers, I mean, I don't know how you'd find yourself in that situation, but you never know. You know, you could actually just do this. You could actually just get Windows. You can buy kind of books for old versions of Windows for dummies. And in any case, if you're into all this nostalgia stuff, it's fantastic reading. Now, you can probably hear some music, and that is because Billy is currently, at the time of recording, Billy Carr is actually currently live on Rockin' Waves 11 to 94. So hang on a minute, if you just give me a wee... Oh yeah, and I'm chatting with my cousin Brian about Scotland's independence as well, and I'm glad he's got actually a sensible head on it. Thank goodness, because, yeah... So yeah, there's Billy here on Rockin' Waves 11-294. I have a show on Rockin' Waves drawing the weekend to a close on a Sunday. Usually takes place at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, now he's talking about the ThinkPad, and I'm trying to record a video. Oh, look, Elmo 3 has given him a wee present. Yeah. Billy, do you realise you're actually being filmed?
Pretty penny when it first came out.
Yeah, it did.
It's very high spec for its age. I'm guessing it's a 2000 or 2001 era. It's a Pentium 3, 1.2 gigahertz, I want to say. Can't remember what it was.
Mine's going to be a 1000 when I get mine.
Gabe, yeah. I don't know what these 12-year-olds on YouTube are so... think Windows 2000 is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, it's a great little operating system, but it's not like it can cure world hunger or anything.
Oh, now we're back to Windows 2000. No, Windows 2000 can't cure world hunger.
Oh, well, hello, Video Sun Frontiers video viewers. It's Billy Core, a.k.a. Road Geek.
It is a pleasure and an honour to have Billy in my video.
Here's the desktop. Okay, you know what? Forget this. I think my wrist is about to fall off, but at least you guys got to see it fall. So
yeah, and if you want to see more of that ThinkPad,
this will be Jay's new video.
Yeah, and if you want to see more of the new ThinkPad, I would recommend you actually go and subscribe to Billy's channel, www.youtube.com/roadgeek. And while Billy's there spinning the tunes, I'm just going to continue showing you what's in this box. We've got Help Us Help You with a nice picture of Internet Explorer 3 on there. That's not right, is it? Because... you know, that came with Windows 95, not Windows ME. Windows ME came standard with the IE 5.5. So, fail horns. Oh, and be quiet, Blog TV. Got more questions about the merger? Join the live chat with the, CCOs of both. Blog TV, you now. Oh, I would so love to go there and say a few choice words, but I'm not going to because I've moved. I've moved Blue Planet 64 Radio's operations over to Ustream.tv. So yeah. Anyway, here's all the Microsoft subsidiary information. Information sur les filiales. I think that's how you pronounce it. Can you help me, my French friend? And this basically here's all like the numbers for like the different Microsoft support people. It's kind of nice that you get that. Oh, and if you wanted to know what this is actually the registration card. I guess by this time they'd stopped asking, do you want the address of the most important person at Microsoft? I'm guessing we just weren't that important anymore by the year 2000. This is probably why, certainly weren't. A lot of people really didn't like Windows ME. And I don't think it was the crashing. I think it was because this registration card, it sounded. Help Us Help You Seriously, that sounds like the sort of thing that would be uttered in a counsellor's office or a psychologist's office. I don't want to sign up for cognitive behavioural therapy. I'm going to go and pick that up now. Oh yeah, and then here's the limited warranty. I love how the paper seems to have, unless it is kind of a beige colour to start off with. I mean, this is basically the same colour as. I'm half expecting that, you know, with better paper that colour, I'm half expecting an old war photo of Winston Churchill to fall out. But yeah, so this has obviously been an unboxing of Windows Millennium Edition, and just because I believe in value for money, because I'm a Scottish liberal, we're actually going to now rebox it, because I'm that nice. Look at this, right. Windows ME, we're going to put the disc label in there as well. I kind of like having that, it's kind of a nice addition. The shiny, shiny, shiny Windows ME disc, and of course, the thing that belongs in every Windows ME box, the Windows 95 CD. This is for installing when you realise Windows ME is really crash happy. And this is an animation floppy disk, so I should feel honoured because it's a good sort. I'm just going to plop all this lot in there, fold that up, fold this on top of it, sellotape it back up, and then I've got the box cover. I'm just gonna drop this all back in there. Oh, just be careful because this box cover is already quite damaged, and I don't want to damage it anymore because I kind of like the design of this box. Oh yeah, and like I was saying about Windows Neptune, Windows 2000 Professional is kind of advertised it, so it's like choose the right Windows to use it. You know, home users, Microsoft saying home users should use Windows ME, business users should use Windows 2000 Professional. Well, actually, I would have said if you had the money to spend on your computer, get Windows 2000 Professional. And if you're really that, if you are concerned about compatibility, and to be honest, why shouldn't you be? Dual boot with Windows 98 and 2000. But then again, having said that, I do have Windows ME. I do enjoy using Windows ME, and I use it on a few of my machines. So, do you know what? I mean, Windows ME is like Vista in a way, you know? A lot of people have had problems with it, but there's a few who haven't. There's a few who've been like, well, Vista has been absolutely fine on my machine. And so basically, you know, I was like that with ME. I just got a really lucky break with Windows ME in the 2001 custom build. You know, I never had any problems with it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And in fact, on the 2001 custom build, I just, you know, it actually appeared to run a lot faster as well. Certainly seemed to, the boot time certainly seemed to be a lot better. And I loved the interface. And I loved a lot about it, you know. And it supported SCSI cards. You know, but I mean, if you wanted, you know, I do think that in some ways Windows 98 did give you a lot more options. Windows ME, you know, I mean, Windows 95 and 98 could be used both in homes and in businesses, but Windows ME, it was strictly just a home operating system. It's a shame it didn't really last, but let's be honest, its successor, Windows XP, which did actually do the job of tying together the Windows 9X and the Windows NT platforms, that was the one that came together and did that. Windows XP was amazing. It was like, you know, you got all the features of Windows ME, but the rock-solid reliability of Windows 2000, and the user interface from Fisher-Price, if we're honest, which I actually did quite like, I still do. And, you know, basically it was just packaged up in a blue or a green box of, well, there's no other way of me to say this, but a blue box of awesome. Seriously, XP is really that good. Okay, well, that's the end of this video, because I want to get off and I want to see Billy's show, if I'm going to be completely honest. So, if you did like this video, please subscribe. Instructions on how to do so will, of course, follow this video. If you're already subscribed, then thank you very much, and thank you for all the support. And if you've not seen all my currently uploaded videos, please explore my channel. Have a look. This might be something you like. And when you've done all that, I hope you'll all be there to join me for my next video. Thank you for watching. See you again.